Hola from the west side. It is me, DC the Purple Diva. Welcome to Not So Random Chat, Saturday chill version. Happy Saturday, everybody. I hope everybody's doing good this Saturday night. So, shouts out to my boy DOD. He had a great topic tonight on a video he dropped earlier. If you haven't checked it out, go over and check out Beacons of Defense at DOD. Yeah, so he was talking about Ghana and going back to the motherland for those of us in ADOS. So I wanted to kind of give some thoughts and stuff on that. And I asked him to stop by, and I'm sure he'll stop by a little later on. But I'm going to kind of give some thoughts right now in regards to that while I'm in this chill mode. So, hey, DOD. So, like a few years ago, myself and some other Black women tried to do some investing in Ghana. And for those of you who don't know, Ghana actually has gold. There are multiple countries on the continent that have gold in them. Ghana is one of them. So anyway, we were looking at this. This is prior to the Big Short here in the United States, you know, when our real estate market went kaput back in 2008, 2009. So this was like probably in the early 2000s to mid 2000s. And at the time that we were actually looking at that, Ghana is one of the countries on the continent that really, really wants those of us in ADOS to invest over there. They want us to bring our dollars into their country. They want us to come home, so to speak. And I know this, you know, mainly because like one of my sorority sisters, who was also involved in this investment group that I was involved in, her mother actually lives over in Ghana and has been, you know, been over there for quite some time. So, you know, I thought it was very interesting, you know, that Beacons of Defense was talking about, you know, about Ghana and has been talking about Ghana, you know, in the last few years, you know, I mean, in the last couple of months. But he is correct in the fact that in the country of Ghana, Ghana is one of the most welcoming countries on the continent. And, you know, as those of us who are educated know that Nigeria and Ghana are two of the most sophisticated and tech savvy countries, so to speak, on the continent, you know. So they have a booming gold industry going on in the country of Ghana. The problem is that the people that they want to invest in those gold mines are not the people who are investing in them. Let me tell you who is, though. People from Europe, and then people from other countries in the Middle East, But who do they really want to come in there and, pool our dollars together? It is those of us in America. Hey, AKA James. Hey, Kip. How are you? So, but one of the things we do have to think about in either investing or in, say, relocating to the continent, to any of the countries over there, is you have to really think about what the cost of living is in the area that you want to move to, if so to speak. Because, people think that it may be inexpensive in Africa, but it's not, because you have to think that in most of those countries, they're not using African currency, they're using European currency. And it makes it more expensive. There is a sister that I watch on the on YouTube that her parents are Nigerian, but she was born over here, but she is over there in Nigeria now. And one of the things that she said is that she had been under the misimpression that it was less expensive to live there. But I think it's probably because of where she is, because she's in Lagos. So if you want to have, a certain type of living, then you may not necessarily be in the big cities if you move over there. And then you do also have the issues that in some countries, this is not in all, but in some countries, it is difficult to buy real estate if you are not a citizen of those countries. But I have friends that live on the continent. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of, but you may have heard of these books that were out in, I would say, probably in the 90s to the early 2000s. They were called, one of them was titled How to Love a Black Man, and the other one was How to Love a Black Woman. And the author of those books was Dr. Ron Elmore. And he and his wife, now live over in South Africa. Hey, Miss Pamela. Hey, Matt. So, I think that for those who want to, that living on the continent could be very, very promising, because the economies are up and coming in there, and they're not as primitive as people think. I don't know. Maybe maybe people over here get the ignorance as to what it's like on the continent, based on movies that we seen would, and maybe they have an impression of us sometimes. But, here's the thing. I have friends that are from Nigeria that choose to live here in the United States, who have children who are, born here, and everything. I have friends that are from, multiple countries over on the continent. But what I find very interesting is that even though they are here in the United States and they're U.S. citizens, they go back to their native country and they do things over there, even though, for all intents and purposes, they don't, they don't have to do that because they're here. You know what I mean? But every person that I know that comes over here and stays over here, that is from one of the countries on the continent, they always try to send stuff back to help where they're from. I mean, because there's like a member of my church who goes back over to Nigeria like a couple of times a year, and he has helped to put sewer systems in rural areas. So I know that there are many who are on the Africans need to help themselves boat. And then there's some of us who are kind of on the, I want to help, I want to help us, I want to help them, and I understand helping them helps us, but I'm not necessarily getting ready to pack up my bags and move to the continent. And then you have those of us who are like going to move to the continent, and do our rebuilding on the continent. And, you have countries like Ghana that are very, very welcoming. But you have other countries on the continent that are not so welcoming of those of us, that are ADOS. It just is what it is, so, you kind of got, the conflicting things, but I think that, if that is the particular country that you're looking at, that probably is a good country to invest in, even if you don't want to be on the continent. And it's also a country that is very welcoming of those of us who decide that we want to be expats, and we are determining that where we're going to be expats is going to be on the continent. So, if you did not check out Deacons of Defense's earlier upload tonight, I would encourage you to go over there and check it out. And if you are not already subscribed to him, he is in the chat somewhere. And I would encourage you to subscribe to him, because he gives a lot of perspective in regards to that in that video that he uploaded tonight. And he's been talking about this for a minute there. Yeah, there he is. So I would encourage you guys to go check out that video and check out his channel. Yeah, it is. I mean, I personally know people who have done it. Like I said, the author of the books, How to Love the Black Man, How to Love the Black Woman. He and his wife, I mean, he was a psychologist here in the States for years. Then after that, he was also in ministry. He was a pastor of a church in up in the Sacramento area. So, Terry may have heard of him because he was up in that area. That's actually where he lived. And a few years ago, maybe I would say about 5 years ago, he and his wife made the decision to move to the continent, and they moved to South Africa. And I follow them, because we're still friends. I follow them on Facebook, and they share a lot of things that are going on and everything with them over there, because he believes that's what his ministry is, and his purpose is to be over there in that particular country, But, I mean, the thing is that for those of us who are on this side of the Atlantic, if you want to invest over there, I think, the issue is that because we don't have this generational wealth over here, many of us are, in a position where we can't do that. But the thing is that when people pool their monies together, if we do the same thing that all of these other cultures do in order to invest on a continent, it would help us. The thing is that it helps you here on this side of the Atlantic, because it's for you, it's residual income, because that's the things that I've looked at. Like when I was, in that investment group, when we were trying to get us a gold mine, I'm like, we were trying. We just didn't have as much money as these other people. But you need to look at it as a place of getting residual income from that perspective. And by doing that, you are helping, the motherland, so to speak, even if you have no intention of going back there. And at the same time, you are helping yourself. And I think that's the way that those of us in the ADOS need to look at it, is that, inevitably, no matter what we're doing, we cannot think that we're going to possibly help ourselves if we are not thinking about what's going on the, the largest, the continent that has the most countries with people that look like us. I mean, and the crazy thing is that, we in the United States, we even separate ourselves from everyone else that, came over on ships. Like, do we not even realize that most of the ships did not stop in the United States? That most of the ships went south of here? That most of, those who are of African descent speak Spanish or Portuguese? And they're still black, and they're probably blacker than we are. But I've spoken about that when I talk about, my family in Cuba. Yeah. So, hey, Terry. Hey, Tutu. So, you've got a lot of people that have misunderstandings about the continent. And I encourage everyone to, at least at some point in your life, at least visit one country. I know I plan on it. That's why I got a passport. And, for me, I figure one of these days I will give up my DNA so I can find out really which African country I came from. But I'm one of those conspiracy theorist people, that, want to know what they're going to be doing with my DNA when they get my DNA, and how they're going to use my DNA, so that's where my reluctancy comes from, but be careful. 1 second, guys. I'm gonna put y'all on mute for just 1 second, because I'm gonna go grab my mouse. Be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. Told you I was only gonna be gone for a minute. Now I'm just hooking my mouse up. And I'm gonna drop the link for anyone who would like to come up. But give me 1 second. All right, there it is. You know, this is gonna be a Saturday night chill. Yeah, I heard a lot of really interesting conversations today, actually on YouTube. You know, and one of them was about one of the things that I've kind of talked about in regards to, you know, those of us who are Afro-Latina, or Afro-Latino, you know, and that for the majority of those of us, that Latin part of us is just still all Black for the most part. You know what I mean? It's like, and if the other part of our family, you know, I mean, for the most part, I know that most of the white that came into my family is from here, you know, and that the Cuban part of my family is mostly Black, you know, like more pure Black, you know. But one of the conversations today was talking about something that a lot of people don't know about. It was just talking about the fact that some of how some of the people actually ended up in Cuba, you know, the slaves, was because when they stopped slavery here, they just shipped them on down there, from a multitude of states. But then at the, you know, early 1900s, or really around the turn of the century, you know, some people were able to make their way on back over here, you know, from Cuba, when they started not wanting people there that, you know, were necessarily of Latin descent. You know, that's kind of when they started throwing all of the Irish out of there, you know, the Irish that were down there that were on their plantations, you know, governing their slaves because they still had slaves after there was no slavery here in the United States. But I digress. But, you know, the slavery here, we know why it really ended. You know, it wasn't for the reasons we would like to think. Hey, Takara, how are you? How are you? Thank you, DOD. Yes, please smash that like button. You know, but it's just so funny to me. You know, we're so hung up here in the United States on what we're being called, you know, and really we're Americans, you know, and we're the only ones that it's a U.S. thing about adding like where you're from or where your ancestors are from to who you are. But, you know, like in other countries, Black people don't do that. They don't. They just say, you know, I'm Brazilian, I'm Venezuelan, you know, Colombian, I'm Nigerian, you know, I'm Ethiopian. Yeah, that's how they do it. Even those in Europe, they'll say the same thing. I'm British. I'm Swedish. We're the only ones. Yeah, we're the only ones that are stuck on what we're called. It's kind of crazy. Really, really is. Exactly. Yeah. You're just Canadian. Exactly, because the fact that I'm black is a given. You know, I'm an American. You can see that I'm black. I don't have to tell you that my skin. I don't have to tell you what color my skin is. You can see what it is. You know. But y'all know, you know how I feel about the race thing. The race thingies that's a European thing. It's like it really should be about what your nationality is in all actuality. Yeah, exactly. Because we all bleed red. However, you do know that our blood is not red until it actually hits the air. You know, it's another color when it's flowing sometimes in certain parts of our bodies. You know, like when you see those veins with the blue, yeah. But as soon as that blood hits the air, it becomes red because of the oxygen being. Anyway, I'm going into science stuff. But yeah, you know, we so stuck on our the color thing. It's just kind of crazy as to what we're being called. Does it really matter? If you're American, you're American. That's what, if you go to Africa, that's what they see you as, an American. Point blank, period. They don't separate out white Americans from black Americans. American is American. Same thing, you know, it's like when you go to other countries, we're just seen as an American. So it's like, we need to get off of that kick. Are you bounced? Nope. I'm just talking about us being Americans. Being an American is not a heavy topic. I don't think. And I'm talking about people, and I'm talking about those of us who would like to be other places. And how that could be beneficial. I know that's a troll. And I think this one is too. Gosh. Yeah. But Captain Clueless is not. Captain Clueless is a friend, y'all. No, I just said you are not a troll. We're not talking about you. We're talking about someone else that was in here earlier. They just deleted. That's why I just said you are not a troll. That you are one of my friends. So they do not delete you. But, you know, I mean, it's just so funny. I mean, if you guys think about it, now those of us who are above a certain age, you think about it. During my lifetime, I have been labeled multiple different things because of the color of my skin in this country. When I was born, I was called Negro. Okay. When my son was born, it said Afro Latina. It said I was African. I was black with Latin. And then, and his dad said he was African, and it said his dad was African American. I mean, but my parents were colored. You see what I'm saying? My parents were called colored, and I was called Negro. So it's like, how do colored parents have a Negro child? It's laughable, the names that we give ourselves. And then I'm a Negro, but then I have, but by the time I'm an adult, my family is acknowledging the Cuban part, so we're Afro Latino. So, and I'm African American too. So, it's like, but my birth certificate says I'm something else because, we can't make up our minds in this country. So I'm just American, okay? And, the color of my skin should be obvious to you. I mean, it doesn't matter who in my family before me was any other color than what I am. Both of my parents were the same color that I am, so that's what I am. That's how we do it, And as I've explained before, the Cuban part of me is still black. That ain't white, but Irish people were slave owners on Cuba. They were given slaves as part of their, payment. And what do you think they did with those slaves? Yeah, that part. So then you have black people with Irish and Spanish names in Cuba and here. Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that, I can't even get stuck on all of that stuff. I'm an American. This is where I was born. And here's the thing. I wasn't even born in a state. I was born in Washington, D.C., So I wasn't even born in an actual state. I was born in the nation's capital, which, it's like people look weird at our birth certificates and stuff from from DC, and yeah, because we weren't born in states. Those of us who were born in Washington D.C., which is the weird thing. Oh, I know. I know. It's like I wasn't born in, I'm a United States citizen because I was born in the United States, but I was not born in a state. But my son was born in a state. I was born, and me and my brother and sister, all three of us were born in DC. But both of our parents were born, in states. Yeah, DC still trying to make itself a state. I don't know why, but I do know why, but I don't know why, because it's like it's like every country has a capital, has a city that's its capital. And this is the city that's the capital of the country, and, the representation is one thing versus making it into a state. Right now they just have courtesy representation. Do I know? I do not know Tokyo Tony. No. Because I have been in California for most of my adult life. I grew up in DC, and I came to California and went to college in California. And I have been here since I got out of college. So, I know Raheem Devon, though, who's from DC. I know him. I know the chick in the group, Kindred the Family Soul. The wife is from DC. I've actually met them. We all know that Marvin Gaye was from Washington, D.C. He was not from Detroit. Yeah, y'all know that Taraji P. Henson is from D.C. Y'all know that, what's the other actress? Regina Hall from D.C. Yeah. Y'all know that Martin Lawrence is from D.C. Y'all know that Dave Chappelle is from D.C. Y'all know that Tommy Davidson is from D.C. Shall I go on? I was like, y'all get me on a roll. Roberta Flack from DC. Genuine. And sometimes we claim Tank. Yeah, he's from DC too. Johnny Gill, DC. Yeah, I miss Marvin Gaye. That was a big loss. That was a big loss, That was a big loss. Shoot. Prince was a huge loss. He's not from DC, but I love Prince. I don't care. Oh, you guys, y'all know I'm a purple girl, right? Okay. How the heck did both the purple teams let me down today? Both of the purple teams let me down today. Both of them let me down today. Yeah. The Ravens, man. Hey, Darren. I was like, oh man, I was rooting for the Vikings. I was DOD. I was rooting because I wanted Kirk Cousins to have a shot at a Super Bowl. Shameful. Shameful. And now we got to wait and see what happens tomorrow to see who's playing next week. Yeah, I had to get all the other stuff out before I couldn't just jump into the football. I couldn't. It was because that I really thought that the Ravens would, man, and then the Vikings, man, y'all. How'd y'all let San Francisco do that? Ugh. And then it's like, here's the paradigm, you guys. Both San Francisco and the Ravens had a bye. It hurt the Ravens and it helped San Francisco. That's all I'm going to say. So we're going to see what these Titans are going to do. We're going to see what them Titans do. We're going to see what those Titans do. And I don't know. The game tomorrow, I don't know. Would it be interesting to see the Titans play the Texans? Would it be interesting to have two expansion teams go to the AFC Championship? I don't know. Because I don't know what Kansas City is going to be coming in there with. So, oh, I didn't even realize that, you know. I'm trying to push. I'm trying to push, Darren. My goal is, you guys, is to be at 1.5 by the end of the month. So I'm doing my thing. I'm trying to network, you know, because my birthday is at the beginning of February. And so I'm trying to get to 2,000 watch hours by then. So I think I'm at like, I don't know, 1,200, somewhere in there. I know I'm nowhere near 120,000 minutes, which is 2,000 watch hours. I know I'm not there. I think yeah, I got to get there. Yes. My birthday is 2 days after the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl's on the 2nd. My birthday's on the 4th. You know, but I do take off during the time of my birthday. So, and since I right now have like over 3 weeks of vacation, I am taking off time. So I don't know. I may go home, you know, go to North Carolina to visit my dad because my dad's birthday is around then too. And I may be in North Carolina for the Super Bowl. But if I'm not in North Carolina for the Super Bowl, yeah, I might be at a Jersey party around my birthday. You know, this isn't one of the monumental ones, but it's still a birthday. And all my birthdays are parties. So for me, in my head, oh, really? Yeah. Yep. I'm at the beginning of the month. February 4th. Me and Rosa Parks. That's the person whose birthday is the same day as mine. Oh, and then I have a play brother whose birthday is the same day as mine. Yeah. He's the only other person that I wish happy birthday on that day. And then I have one Facebook friend. and we're Facebook friends because our birthdays on the same day. And that's literally how we met on Facebook. Oh, hers is on the 3rd. So hers is the day before mine. Okay. Yeah, I'm a February baby. So now you guys understand why I like purple too, because my birthstone is amethyst. And amethyst is purple. And I've always loved purple because I've always thought that I was royalty, guys. I always have thought I was royalty. You know, I'm a child of the Most High. I am. Hey, Enat, how are you? Yeah, but it's going to be an interesting Super Bowl because, you know, people have messed up all who we thought was going to end up in there. All of you guys, let me put y'all on mute for just 1 second. I need to go check something. 1 second. Gotta be mom. Be right back. Oh, I pulled everything. All right, I'm back. I think I knocked the mouse over, guys. Sorry about that. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Now I'm not sure how the Super Bowl is going to pan out. Because now I like Russell. And I do believe that former USC coach Pete Carroll is on a mission. But how San Francisco was looking today, and then they got to get through Green Bay. They got to get through Green Bay. And they don't do well with Green Bay. I mean, they're going into this game as the underdog. Oh, yeah, no. I posted the thing down, but Deacon didn't want to come up, Terry. I talked about it. I gave my thoughts. I will drop the link down again. I will be happy if one of you guys want to talk about that. Yeah, because I gave my thoughts in regards to it before you got here, Terry, but I'm not opposed to that. I discussed the thing that a few years ago, I was actually part of an investment group. We were trying to invest in one of the gold mines over in Ghana. But DOD, I would still check into the real estate laws over there, because I've heard conflicting, points of view in regards to being able to buy real estate there. I'm hearing that you have to be married to someone, or, because it's hard to become, I think you have to live there for a certain amount of time in order to buy property if you're not married to someone. I think, it's not like, how we are willy-nilly over here in the United States, where anybody can buy property even if you're not a United States citizen. Yeah, African countries just aren't like that, so I think it's for non-citizens to buy property, they have to go through certain things. And it's even like that. Like, I mean, you guys got to think about it. Like, even in Mexico, it is only recently that people from the U.S. were actually able to put their names on titles of properties in Mexico. Up until that point, it was, the bank it was in the banks in Mexico. They wouldn't let anybody who was not a Mexican citizen actually own the property, even though you were the one paying the mortgage as a U.S. citizen. So, yeah. That's the thing about property buying over there. But, there are countries over there that are flexible in regards to that. I don't know if they can do that. I don't even know if they can do that, Miss Pam. I mean, I think, like, my friends that are in South Africa, I believe that they do own property, but see, South Africa is different, and the reason why I say I get conflicting reports about Ghana, because Ghana is one of the countries that wants those of us in the United States to invest over there and to, buy over there. So maybe maybe there are some, some kind of guidelines that they have around that if you're investing over there as to being able to purchase real estate. I don't know, but I know that we can invest in things over on the continent. And when you invest in things over on the continent in countries, you're obviously going to be looking for things where it can be residual income for you over here in the United States. But although we think that the US dollars are weak, they're very strong over in Africa. So it's something to definitely think about as part of your investment portfolio, even if it's not something that you're thinking of, a place that you're thinking about necessarily taking up residence, but you could have a second home there, even if it's something that you have as as an investment. Because I can't think that every nation on the continent is locked up from foreigners buying real estate, because we are considered foreigners, Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. That I'm sure that's what I'm saying. If you're investing in Ghana, I'm sure that they've got to have some other things that you can do in order to have land, because they're one of the Roland Martin report was right in that they are one of the most welcoming countries on the continent. I mean, when you go to Ghana, their model, they tell those of us in ADOS, to them, they are welcoming us home, because I mean, and if you think about it, when you think about the demographics of the majority, and I'm not just talking about those of us in the United States, but I'm talking about those that are in South America and in the Caribbean, the majority of us are descendants of people that were in the western part of Africa, at least at the time that they were sold into slavery. It may not be where their ancestors originated, because as we know that many of them scattered across the continent, but they're but in all likelihood, a lot of us are descendant of people from the western parts of Africa, and then the sub-Saharan parts of Africa. But like I said, I guess I'm gonna eventually, because I got to do this. I promised myself I'm gonna do it when my dad is still here. We need to know, get the full information, because my family is so secretive in regards to the part of my family that's Cuban. So I need to find some stuff out, But my dad's family, his family, like my mom's family, is like an open book. I can trace part of our family all the way back to France. Unfortunately, yes, we're white. I mean, I've told y'all that. To my family is related on my mom's side to the people that influenced Renault, the car company, because the full name of the company is Renault Fluence, and it's in my family. So, but on my dad's side, we trying to figure that stuff out. Anyway. I'm reading the comments. So yeah, but Terry, you're right. That's what I was saying earlier. There's a lot of development that is open to those of us in America over in Ghana. That's probably one of the most welcoming countries that really wants us to come over there and invest. But, like I said, we're not the ones who are really investing over there. It's a lot of Europeans that are doing all the investing in those gold mines and things. I mean, how many of you guys knew that Ghana had gold? Huh? How many of y'all knew that there was gold mines in Ghana? Because people only think about, what's going on down in, the stuff that's in South Africa. And there's a lot of focus on that. But please believe that there is a huge resource of, precious metals and things on the continent. That's the reason why they needed to stay in this neo-colonized state. And this is the reason why those of us in the ADOS who are able to, because everybody's not able, let's be honest, everybody's not able, should seriously think about that. And at least, look at seriously investing in things on the continent. If nothing else, it could be sources of residual income for those of you who are, moving towards retirement. Yeah, DLD. I figured you knew about them because you're looking at Ghana. Coffee farm. Oh, that would be nice. Yeah. And see, I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but one of the reasons why slavery ended in this country was because this country that we live in was moving towards industrial. So agricultural, they were shifting from an agricultural society. And the South had all the natural seaports where they could be importing and exporting stuff, as part of this industrial thing. So it was a natural development of the country. The Civil War just sped up the process, but we wouldn't have been slaves forever. Our ancestors were eventually going to get freed at some point, but we know how, as I said, some of the people who have Cuban blood, it's because some of the slaves over here went to Cuba. Yeah, because Cuba still had slavery. But there's less black people in Cuba than there are in the United States. So, but part of them black people is who I'm from, in Cuba. Everything that deals with me is pretty much black. We all know about the white stuff that everybody has in their families, but it's ignorant when people forget that there are black people that call themselves Afro-Latin. But it has to do because their family speaks Spanish and they're from one of the Spanish-speaking nations, period. I know, that's what I was saying, Terry. I was in an investment group and we were putting our monies together. But what happened to us was The Big Short happened to us. And so, a lot of the monies that we had, that we were pulling from, that was some rough years, and it was the timing. But if we have invested at that time, because I'm talking about over 10 years ago when we were doing this stuff, man, anyway. But people need to get like into investment groups and pool monies together, because if you're serious about doing investment on the continent, it does require serious capital. It's not cheap, and people need to not be thinking that it's not. Yeah, it's about the cash. That's what I'm saying, that we don't understand. Our US dollars are stronger on the continent, and I forget, I think it's Africa that's diaspora. They have been posting like real estate over on the continent. On their channel. And the prices of some of their property is not that I have to say, it's really not that bad. When you look at the price of property here in the United States, and in some of these cases, you're not talking about like a house. Sometimes you're talking about a condo and everything, but the locations are just spectacular. And moving to the continent is not for everyone, but having, you're seeing a lot of these celebrities and everything, what they're doing, they're buying like second homes on the continent, and they got cash. So you think any of these countries, whatever their rule is, you think they're going to say no to Jay-Z and Beyonce if they coming in there with $500,000 cash? Come on now. And did you guys notice how many of the Black elite, as we call it, Black Hollywood, Black entertainment, spent the new year on the continent? They brought the new year in Africa. I know, Terry, that's what I'm saying. It's got to be it's got to be group efforts, but those of us here in some of us don't understand that, and I'm saying this as someone who's owned real estate in my lifetime, but now I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, so if I own real estate again, I don't have to actually have some that I'm living in. I just need to have it, so I have it as an investment, so I have it as something as to be able to give some type of generational wealth to my son. I mean, we don't think about that. We don't have that here. And we need to understand that we have to look at multiple ways to make that happen. And for some people, that may not mean doing all your investing here in this country. You need to look at this globally, because everybody else looks at it globally. We're the only ones who don't look at things globally when we're talking about investing and investing in ourselves for the next generation. And when I say that, I'm talking about Black Americans, okay? I'm talking about us specifically, because those who are other countries who also have the same color skin as us, they don't necessarily think the way that we think. We think too small-minded. We're looking for the repayment for the suffering we had here to try to make something here, when we don't understand that we need to expand our horizons in order for us to have what we want to give to our children, the legacy that we want to leave to our children. I know. And life insurance policies are not that expensive. You know, I mean, we all know that the best kind to get, at least in this day and age, is really the term ones. You know, you get them for a specific amount of years. And then, you know, yes, everybody needs to have some type of insurance to make sure that if you go, that it's taken care of and your children don't have to worry about that. And I know people don't like to talk about this, but people need to have a freaking will. Need to have a will. Write it out. Even if you think you have nothing. Hey, OC, the soul singer, how are you? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy New Year to you too. You know, but that also goes into the fact that, you know, high schools we don't have any financial literacy. And that's not even I wouldn't say that's even a Black thing. I'm just gonna say that's a US thing. We don't teach financial literacy well, and it's not taught in the schools. And then those of us, depending on what our ethnicity is, don't teach it to our children. So it's like somebody's got to learn the financial literacy so that we learn how to manage money, so that we find out that we can have money, you know. I encourage people to look at getting themselves to the point of being debt free so that you have money to invest, you know. Yeah, but the thing is that, I mean, teaching people how to manage a little will allow them to learn how to manage a lot. And that's the problem. I mean, y'all think about it. Our boys think that the only way that they can make it is if they're an athlete or if they're an entertainer. You know, they're just now seeing, you know, they don't look at being a doctor or a lawyer anymore because they think about all the debt that they're going to come out of college with. So they don't want to invest that money, you know. So they look at these two ways to come up. But it's such a small percentage that get that opportunity to be either a rapper or a singer or an actor, you know, or an athlete, be it a football player, be it run track, be it, a basketball player or a baseball player, or we have hockey and we have soccer now, So these are the things that they're looking at, and let's not forget that, being Instagram or Twitter famous, all the Instagram models. Let's not forget that. We've got to teach our people financial literacy, and it really starts with the ones who are baby boomers and the Gen Xers. Before you even think about the millennials, because they're messed up because we messed them up. Let's be honest. We didn't have the financial literacy. A lot of us mismanaged our credit because, and the sad thing is that they did have business classes in high schools probably up until the early 80s. Then after that, it went away. Okay. So, knowing how to manage a checkbook, having a bank account, understanding credit, understanding, those kind of things should be basics, but they are not, because they are not taught. And so we have a generation that are financially illiterate. They don't know how to budget. They don't know how to invest. They don't understand, money. So of course they don't have no money to even think about pooling money together. They don't even understand the concept of pooling money together. That's a good information, Terry. I'm glad you put that in the chat. How many of us read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? I know if you look at the concept, look at the finance, just look at the things, because in order to make change, you have to have money. Let's be real, and the things that we talk about, it's going to require some money. And, how many of us look at the stock market? How many of us looking at, the ones that give you, those revenue checks, quarterly revenue checks, those kind of companies? How many of us look at the companies that we buy their products when we go to the grocery store, and then look at, if they have publicly traded stock, and do they have, dividends that they pay out to their stockholders? That's the kind of stuff that we need to be thinking about when we're looking at buying stuff, so we, and you can quietly become very wealthy, and then with that, take that to help to develop. Now you got the money. So now you got some money that you can put over there in the motherland. We don't all have to be over there. People like DOD, that's what he wants to do. But the concept is about us focusing on that, because focusing some of our money on that will help us really with what's going on over here. Literally, you could have money coming to you from Africa. Literally. I mean, that was the whole point of my friends and I looking at as a group of women investors. We wanted to invest into one of those gold mines, you know, and back then it was 6 figures. It was 6 figures to do it, because you have to think about the equipment that has to be, you have to think about the manpower that's over there that has to operate this for you, you know, because they basically do, like, you know, it's a method that they have for it. Hey, Miss Mahogany. You came out, sis. So, you know, obviously, I mean, most of you guys know I am I've never considered myself a Black first. I don't even understand. I don't understand that part. Because I guess it's obvious that I'm Black. So obviously, anything that I'm doing is going to be from the Black perspective, you know. But I'm of the mindset that when I'm thinking about that and who I am, that includes everybody who shares the same color skin as me, not just those of us here in the United States. That's why I make friends with people all over the world, you know. Made some really good, you know, made some really good, you know, connections with those on the continent. And it's really interesting to see the perspective, you know, of those who live on the continent versus that we have here in the United States, you know. And they're not docile at all, you know. And many of them are more woke than we are. Let me just say that. Hey, uppity unicorn. Yeah, many of them are much more woke than us, you know. And they are living in the middle of the neo-colonization in the countries that they're in. They see what's going on, you know. I'm just reading the chat, making sure I'm not missing anything, because I know I'm rambling, I'm talking. So I don't want my talking to make me miss anything important in the chat. Oh, see, there's that connection that Lefford needed about Ghana. We all gonna have some place to go visit in Ghana. You know. Wait 1 second, guys. Okay, guys, I'm back. I'm sorry.
I gotta go pee now. There you go.
Saturday night chill over here too. Oh man. So Lending Club and Acorn. I didn't even think about Acorn. Yeah, but you guys know, yeah, there are a couple of like apps that you can jump on to do investment. I think like Stash app is one. Acorn, yeah, that is a good one. Just ways to start to put your little monies to the side. I mean, because like most of us, if you're still working, you got your little 401k and everything, but we all need to be thinking about multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income. Because for me, my goal is at the present, to make some money. I got a full-time job. I'm going to make YouTube into something, and I'm hoping that I can eventually start to do speaking engagements about autism, and what I do. I'm going to, once my book on writing my son is out, use that. That's going to be another income, and I'm going to be doing some writing. And yes, you guys, I'm doing some acting. The play that I'm in, Mama Tell Me Why. We started rehearsals again today, you guys. Ugh, I nailed it. I'm gonna have to have somebody actually videotape some of me doing my stuff. So I'll like maybe post some in a vlog. Maybe after the next rehearsal. Our next rehearsal is not for another 2 weeks. So, but the play is going to be in April. It's going to be in Southern California. And I will give you guys details as I know it. And if you plan on coming here, it's going to be April 4th. Let me know. I will give out ticket information if people do want to come down and support that play in person. I do know that they have big plans for this ensemble company that I'm in, that they're trying to take this stuff to the next level. I mean, like next level, like Netflix, like Amazon eventually. So yeah, they were really, really pushing us in the rehearsals and everything, because that's what where we're trying to take it. So yeah, I will be posting some video clips of my acting chops for you guys soon. Be on the lookout for that in my vlogging. Oh, hey, Miss Gen X. No worries. No worries. No worries. See, Leffert, good thing you came in here. You're going to get some information you need. Oh, Uppity, I loved your upload of your Amazon stuff. I'm like, I never thought about like doing unboxings of stuff that I get on my channel. I might have to do that. But I get like stuff from my sorority every once in a while. But I'm thinking about getting this sketching thing for my art stuff. I'm thinking about doing that. And I'm thinking about trying out the monthly of that, where they'll send me like paint supplies and sketchbook supplies, because I'm going to need all of that stuff when I'm going to be doing the stuff with my son. Yeah, there's a lot of them now. There are a lot of them now, Terry. And what I tell people to do is that when you're looking at stocks, look at ones that pay dividends. You want ones that pay dividends. You know, even if you take the dividend and reinvest it, that's the ones that you want, you know. And think about things that like you actually buy. Like if you know, if you drink Canada Dry ginger ale, you know, look and see, you know, who their company is. But I think they're one of the ones that don't pay dividends. Don't quote me on that. You know, if you eat Popeye's chicken, look and see, you know, who their parent company is, see who they're on the stock exchange, and start to get you some money from that, from all those chicken sandwiches that they're selling. You know, that's the kind of things that we need to think about, because you know, you have to think about it as long-term things, and you start with small amounts. If you don't have a whole lot to put in, you don't have to have a whole lot to start, because, you know, none of us should ever be just trying to depend on one stream of income. That's not what other cultures do. And we as people of color need to understand that that's what we do. And you never put all of your eggs in one basket. And in not putting all of your eggs in one basket, one of the places that is a good place for us to invest some of our monies is on the continent, to help us to have residual monies when we want to retire. I'm just reading what McCartney said. Yeah, you know, that is so ignorant of people who think that they don't have shopping malls and, you know, Wi-Fi, okay, cell service, you know, like, seriously, guys, you know, when you think of that, that's where I have the problem with us when we label the continent as being third world. Because when people label the continent as being third world, that's where people get these ignorant thoughts that it means that they don't have Wi-Fi. Like, do y'all know how many all of those Wi-Fi satellites that are up in orbit and everything? Do you seriously think that what, they're not over the continent of Africa too? Really? Okay. You know, I mean, yeah, depending on where one person lives, they may have a little spotty Wi-Fi for that person because of their specific service. But to be so simple-minded as to think that on the continent that they do not have the same kind of resources that we have here is crazy. We are actually 20 years into the 21st century. Do you really think that they don't? I'm like, it doesn't even make any sense to think that. You know, they got cars just like we got cars. They got universities that are probably some of the best universities in the world, might I add, on the continent, you know. And they have Wi-Fi, they have, they have shopping malls. You know, they've been, they're very westernized. Very westernized. Yep. Exactly. It's like people, you have to think, I mean, you have different types of communities on the continent, just like you do here in our country. But you have 50 freaking 4 countries on the continent. So it's just, oh my goodness. You know, it's just so stupid to even think that they're primitive when we're not. Like, that's kind of, you know, looking down your nose on the people that you came from. Because everybody in the world came from Africa. And if it was that primitive, everybody wouldn't be trying to get a piece of it. $55. Okay, so there's, okay, forgot. Yeah, the one new country. Forgot about it because they split one. Yeah. So did you guys hear 45 today? 45 today is now trying to blame the Democrats. And let me just say this by saying I am not a Democrat, but he's now trying to make the Republican Party out to be the religious party. And he's saying that there's going to be cross burnings and they're going to try to take, you know, now he's suddenly for prayer in schools. Okay. This is his new stance. So he's once again going after people who have a relationship with God and trying to snowball them to support him. You know, by making ludicrous claims like that, you know, I mean, here's the thing. Last time I checked, you can barely have a prayer anywhere in a public setting. It's a big freaking deal, you know? So is he saying that he's going to overturn the Supreme Court ruling about the prayer in school? You know, and y'all know how I feel about it. I don't think there's anything wrong with prayer in schools. You know, I mean, if people don't believe in God, you know, they don't have to participate in it. You know, but most people do believe in a higher power. You know, so I don't really. It's not going on in schools right now, but I don't think. I think he's just using this as another twisted way to get voters. Yeah, he's just using it as another twisted way to get voters. I mean, I just don't think it, you know, so don't even listen to the craziness. And yeah, that's very true, Terry. You know, I mean, just like, you know, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that, you know, are under the assumption of knowing, you know, that we should have multiple streams of income. But I just want to make sure that we are of the mindset that when you're thinking about that you put that in a global mindset. You know, don't just think about the monies or your investing being here strictly in the country that you live in, because nobody else does. Nobody else does that. Nobody else does that. And I'm talking about even other ethnicities in the country that we are in. We are the only ones who keep it that small-minded as a majority in general. There are those of us who are starting to understand that, but we have to continually put that out there to everyone else so that we get that thought process together. Yeah, you can get some real estate here, but you might be able to get some real estate over there too. You know? And you know, you don't get taxed on foreign income the same way. Ask all those accountants out there. You know, the way money that's made outside of the country, you know, like if you got a rental house over in Ghana or something, or in, you know, Ethiopia or South Africa, wherever, you know, it's not going to be taxed the same way. Just like it wouldn't be taxed the same way if you had a house on, you know, the Mediterranean, you know, whatever. If it was in a European house, same thing. If you've got income coming from another country, it can be beneficial as a tax thing for those of you who are money minded. I wish he would have a seat and just enjoy his impeachment, but that's not going to happen. He ain't on that. He's not on that train. That train came and went. He's still fighting. According to, I forget, they're supposed to be sending the articles of impeachment to the Senate, what, next week, the week after? You know? So, I don't know. I guess the actual impeachment might be happening sometime in February now. Okay. Mess with my birthday month. Yeah. But you know, Matt, the environmental changes are part of things that, you know, some of those things are because of things that we as man have done. And some of them are simply because the planet is older than people think it is. Yeah, that part. But it won't even matter because we won't be here when all this stuff, whatever happens. We will be long gone and dead. Or for those of us who believe, you know, Yeshua may have come. And it'll be a moot point at that point as well. You know? But we have trashed this. We as human beings have trashed this world. We don't have any respect for it. You know, and sadly, we don't have respect for ourselves either. Because the minority culture is constantly trying to figure out how to get rid of the majority of us. And then we have the majority of us who are still sleeping and don't even recognize that that's what's happening. So they're just going along with the program. And yes, I am speaking in code for the trolls in the clouds. So, you know, it is what it is. But people need to wake up. They need to understand that as I said, we are in the year 2020. people need to start having that 2020 foresight and not 2020 hindsight. They need to open their eyes and see what's really going on and see what's really best for we people of color. Ah, here comes Terry. Hey, Terry.
Hello. Hi. Hey, sis.
How you
Hey,
doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I didn't mean to interrupt your flow. I
No,
just
no, no.
wanted to reiterate that the information that I put in your chat,
Mm-hmm.
I really want to emphasize how easy it is to get started in all those things, and that we should really be really seriously considering those things just to get started. And they're very, very easy. All of them have tutorials on each and every one of them. And really, I'm a
I agree.
member of
Some of
all
them,
of them. Every,
yeah, some of them there's no initial investment. Some of them you have as little as a $5 investment to start yourself off.
yeah, there's others like that. I know that the investment club, Todd Capital,
Mm-hmm.
they'll it's the threshold is $1,000, but they'll take it in a piecemeal fashion. They'll take it $5, $10 there. I mean, they don't care. And once they get that money, then they'll actually see they have a stock side, and of course they have a real property side. Of course, I'm on the real property side. I do my
Mm-hmm.
own stocks with TD Ameritrade, but I just wanted to emphasize that it's very easy to get started, and there's a very low threshold. So it's tailor made for people who really don't have a lot of money up front.
Exactly, and that's the
It's
thing that
very
that I want people to understand is that we're under this impression that you know we got to do things on a big scale, and they don't understand that you can start with a little to make a lot.
absolutely. uh, none of these Fortune 500 companies started large, started very small.
And that's the thing is that we as people of color, our issue, and I'm sorry, Terry, I think Terry dropped off. We tend to not understand the wealth of how things can go when we do it as a community. I mean, do you guys realize that that's how they were able to get the Black Wall Street that was in Oklahoma? Black people pooling their money together to make that happen. And they have us so messed up now that we don't trust each other to do that, to make it happen. No worries, no worries. If you want to come back up, you can. But we have to be better in this decade. We have to be smarter in how we move forward. I mean, literally, if you're not a goal-oriented person, you need to become a goal-oriented person. Figure out. I tell people to start with 90-day goals. Like, even though I have long-term goals and everything, I got goals that I have for the next 30 days, for the next 90 days, and just how I'm going to operate with certain things. Like, because 2019 did not end the way that I thought it was going to end. But that's a good thing, actually. It actually ended completely in a different way than I thought it was going to end. So now that kind of shifted some of the stuff that I thought was going to be the way I was going to be starting 2020, you know, and, you know, I mean, like, because things changed in my work life, things changed in my personal life, just, you know, so it's like, okay, so, and then things that I wanted to get done were actually got done when they needed to get done. And I kind of, on some of the things, I kind of superseded some of my goals. So now I had to readjust my goal for 2020. Oh, sure. 1 second, Terry. Because, you know, I'll just talk. Okay. You know what you got. You know what you signed up for. Okay, I just dropped the link, Terry. You know, but I mean, we have to just think bigger. We have to think bigger than ourselves. You know. There you are. You back.
Yes, I apologize. I accidentally hit the wrong button and I kicked myself out. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We have to think bigger than ourselves, because we don't understand that part of us creating generational wealth is not necessarily just thinking nationally, it's thinking internationally. You know, and helping to facilitate change in our own life can happen by helping to facilitate change in an upcoming and thriving country on the continent. They are not third world countries. They have Wi-Fi.
Absolutely, yeah.
I was like, as we well know, I'm like, or you wouldn't be having all these scams coming from the continent. Stop it. All right, go ahead, Terry.
Well, it's hard to believe that some of us still think that way about Africa, when all you really have to do is just look up each country on the internet and go to the images. If you know, if people really want to see some things, there's a lot of videos there. Of course, a lot of publications, a lot of good documented information. I think that I just think that if we are going to play this capitalist game, then we should play it to win. I mean, certainly nobody wants to overthrow white supremacy. Well, I do, but however, since we obviously refuse to take power, as we well should, I think the least we can do is understand capitalism to the point where we can master some things and really start building some capital individually and collectively. And what I have found
exactly, and that's
is,
why I'm like telling people, I'm like, you know, okay, if you want to do some of this investment of everything you want to invest, okay, invest in Africa, invest in Ghana, invest in Nigeria. I'm telling you, it's like there are countries over there where they do want us. You know, they love if we come live over there, but they want us to be part of the rebirth of these nations, and we don't get it. We do not get it. You know, they're not walking around with you know, with horses and carts and stuff. They're not rural nations and stuff. It's not what we think. And I'm just saying, and when I'm saying we, I'm talking about the ones who don't know.
yes, I was going to say, I'm sure this group a very intelligent group that we have in this chat. But for all those who uh, refuse to educate themselves, certainly you really there's some things that they can pay attention to. I would also remind people to check out people like Jay Morrison. There's a brother from Atlanta named Bumanti Tayemba. Those of you might have seen a tour of Africa year round. He is also an investor. He knows a lot about what's going on in Ghana in terms of the land development program. I've learned. Let me just say what I've learned is you unless the program has ended. Last year, I was told that Ghana does have set aside lands to give out, and they definitely target American blacks. But you have 5 years to develop it if you're going to keep it.
Yep.
Okay, so they'll give you diversion land. You have to use your own money, of course, out of pocket expense, or maybe a group of investors, and you can develop what you need. What's most in terms of creating the need, and many people are encouraged to go there and start businesses, industries, modern industries, maybe farming. Depends on in terms of what is needed in the particular area that you may want to look at. And they've been encouraging people like Beaumonte, Dynasty Demir, who's from Sacramento, like I am. But although I haven't met him, but or I don't know him personally, but also he too talks about that as well. So there are a lot of opportunities. Also, I would emphasize Erica Williams, her channel, Classic Client Blog. Charles Oglesby, he's the brother who runs Todd Capital Investment Club, not too far from you, Diva. By the way, I don't want to say Bakersfield, but it's down in Southern California.
Do you know of Ron Elmore? That was the one I spoke about earlier in the broadcast. He's the one who wrote those books, How to Love the Black Man and How to Love the Black Woman. I
heard of him.
Right.
Haven't read him though.
He's from Sacramento. He's from the Sacramento area.
Right.
That's where he was, but he now is in South Africa. And I believe he's in the Johannesburg area. But he and his wife went over there, and that's what I was telling. They started a whole, they have a ministry, they got property and everything over there. So that's what I'm saying, that it depends on what you're doing and what you come in with as to whether you can buy property. Because if you come in with cash, even regardless of whatever this freaking law is in Ghana, if you have the money to buy the property, I don't think that they're going to say, oh yeah, you got to marry somebody from here when you're coming in with whole card cash money.
Right.
There's ways to get around all of the laws over there. But again, for those of us in America, most of us don't have the money as one person, but we don't understand how other people here culturally pool their monies together so that they can do this. And that's how they're able to create this generational wealth that we want to create. And we just don't understand that part of us being able to do that is the motherland. We just don't understand it. And that's for the people who don't want to, okay, I don't want to be involved, but, I just want to make my money. Okay, well, you can make your money, and then you can also still be helping the motherland.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just fear of the unknown. And of course, many of our people over here, in my opinion, have been taught to have this lotto mentality, or they treat things like it's a gambling house by and large. When you explain some of these things to them, they think that they should put money in and take it out like it's some sort of checking account. And when you look at investment, you have to lock that money up and let it grow compound interest. And so when you get into
They
that,
got to look at something for 5 to
so
10 years. They've got to look at a
yeah, so
5 to 10 year investment.
yeah, so you have to understand that, and but it can be done. It can be done in groups. Uh, Many people are, and young people too. People in their 20s, 30s, they're getting together in what's called a syndicate. As many as
Exactly.
100, 200 people getting
Exactly.
together
They're
and
starting
getting
to
enough
do that
capital to
again
buy things.
because that's what we
Yeah,
were trying to do. But again,
right.
when we were trying to do this happened before we had the huge real estate short here in the United States, which killed a lot of people's income, and everybody's 401k went up in smoke.
I was a I was a loan officer at that time,
Mm,
2007, 2008 when that happened. I do remember it vividly.
yep. And I still work in the industry, but I just don't work on that side. I was on that side because I worked for one of the biggest alt A lenders.
Right.
So
But I
yeah.
think, but I think I think the most important thing that I'm trying to communicate here, and I definitely echo everything that you're saying, sis. It's just that the threshold to get started is very low and very doable.
That's the
And
thing.
so
It's like, give up Starbucks coffees,
you
take
don't
that
need a whole
money,
lot of money to get started. Yeah.
you know, take little bits of, it's like things you're spending on other things. Think about think about, like if you drink in Starbucks, invest in Starbucks. But I don't think Starbucks gives dividends. So just FYI.
No, I don't think so.
Just FYI,
I
they don't
think
give
so.
dividends.
So
But
it's just, yeah, it's just a way to um, intelligently use your money. That's all. Yeah, definitely a lot of money that we have, we don't know until we stop spending it on certain things that are not giving us any kind of uh, percentages of our spending. You'd be surprised if, depending on how people eat, they eat maybe once a week instead of 4 times a week. If they
mhm.
cut down on
And
cigarette
I know
smoking,
somebody
I
said
mean,
it
certain things.
jokingly
Yeah.
in the chat, but cannabis is probably something that people of color need to think about because
Yes, there's a lot of
we are
opportunities
missing the
there.
boat. Let me just say
Yeah.
that we are missing the boat.
Uh, Let me say just a couple words about that before you continue, sis. And
Okay.
maybe you were going to say this, but there's opportunities for angel investments right now in certain places. Roland Martin talks about that from time to time on his show. And then, of course, there's cannabis stocks that are booming in Canada. I don't ever tell anybody which stock to buy, but I always encourage them to look into it and see for yourself what you want to do if you want to do anything. It's a
Yeah.
good area to look.
Agreed. Agreed. And that's the thing is that you do have angel investors that will help out, and just will, give you basically the capital that you need in order to do the investment with the, obviously the promise that they'll get a portion of the payout, so that is also
Yeah,
routes that people can go. And there are people that,
yeah,
you just got to do your research
yeah.
on the angel investors.
And you won't be looking long. It's not I mean, you won't exhaust your energy getting answers. That's one of the great parts that I found out a couple of years ago on some things. Of course, but certainly, I think someone mentioned uh, life insurance. Definitely, those who don't should definitely get that life insurance policy together for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
First,
and have, and please, people, even if you think you don't have anything, so many people of color do not have a will. Even if you have nothing,
yeah,
have a will. Have a will.
exactly. Exactly. But they made this thing very, very easy. I'm telling you, you don't need a degree. You don't need a certification. You don't need uh, you really don't need an expert to walk you through it. I mean, there's
And I'm not
tutorials
gonna,
that will
yeah,
teach
I'm gonna leave the chat in this so that anybody, you know, if you missed it in the chat, you can look at it in the playback. The information Terry dropped it in the chat, guys.
you.
So
Yeah.
just, you know, look
See,
at it in the, you can go back and look at it in the playback.
yeah. So, I mean, it's not an either or proposition. I think that you can build up some stuff here in these markets and definitely do some work and getting maybe uh, send someone to Africa on a fact finding mission in the Pacific area that, you may be interested in to invest in and then come back to info. That might be a good thing. Or if someone, maybe if you hook up with somebody who's going there or someone's there now, they can look in it for you. That's how some people are doing it too,
Yeah, because
from
that was
places
how
like,
we involved in
yeah,
the gold industry, and looking into
yeah,
getting into the gold industry is because, you know, one of the members of the group's mother literally lived in Ghana, and that was how, and being involved in that, that was, I mean, this is like, we're talking about over 10 years ago, but that's when I found out that the way that we thought that Africans saw us was so wrong. Now, yeah, you have those little sections of people that hating on American blacks, but that is not the majority. The majority on the continent, you know, want us to be. It's not about a pity thing or anything. It's not about them wanting us to help. They want us to be involved in the wealth that's going to be gained. They don't want it to be Europeans, and that's what people are not understanding. And it's not that they
absolutely,
think that we have all this money. They understand that in order for us to do it, we are probably going to have to pool our monies together to do it. They know that, you know, it ain't a whole bunch of Beyonces and Jay-Z's over here.
absolutely. Let me just add too that what I've also found out over the years, just studying Africa and working with people of African descent all over the globe, that uh, it's our access to the information, the educational institutions here. With those tools, we really, and our investment dollars, we could really make a substantial impact moving forward for ourselves and the African continent. And I think that, or I know for sure, Africa needs the help of all of its sons and daughters from the diaspora. Um, they consider us their kith and kin. You know, you look past the negative or the misinformation and negative propaganda, you will begin to see that, as Sister said, they really rather do business with us. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
they
they
know the
really,
money's
really, really
green,
do. And it's
but they
this,
want our green.
you know, and I think a lot of us have the
So
misconception that they think that we're rich. They know that we're not rich. They know that we are descendants of slaves and that most of us don't have nothing, you know, but they also know that if a group of us put our monies together, our little nothings can become something.
So, I mean, we already know the American dollar is we can use that, of course, strategically for our advantage. Uh, I think everybody knows that it's worth more than other economies in other countries. So there you are. I mean, there's a framework right there for action. I've gotten started in terms of doing things here, things that I've mentioned. I'm a member of all those things. And it was something that I guess eventually I definitely wanted to collaborate with you and cover at,
Hmm.
at a given point in the future. But
Yeah.
now it's the best time as ever to do it then. But
Yeah, no, it just, you know, when I was listening to, you know, what Leffer was talking about
mm,
in his upload earlier, you know, I just like, you know,
yeah,
I think I need to respond to this because, you know, I'd never shared with anybody that that's something that like over 10 years ago, I was trying a group of us were trying to invest on the continent, you know. So it's not like I'm sitting here like, you know, I literally put some money into this at one point in time, and it's something that I probably want to do again, because I haven't given up on the concept, because I know that why would I want to allow someone else to get that money that they really are, I mean, they are really in some cases begging us to be the ones to invest. You know, they're gonna take the money from where it comes from, but you know, they want, first offer is to those of us from the diaspora.
And
That's what they would prefer.
Yeah. Now you're also saying, sis, that that investment group you were in, you all were going for gold mines, right?
Yes.
That's something that I think we should look in again. I think
Yeah,
possibility.
I know, because that is I mean, it's Europeans who are coming over there, and it just means, because literally it's like this machine you have to get that does the gold mining, because gold mining is not quite the same as you guys might think. It's not like the diamond mining. It's not like people physically. It's like you get a machine that goes through the, you know, the stuff and shuffles for the gold, and you know, silks it out, and then you have a few people, but not like, it's, you know, that go through it to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And you have to have somebody operate machines. Unless they changed it.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but yeah, no, definitely. I mean, but I think that we should, that's one of the things that I do want to talk about, is just to kind of get knowledge out there so people understand about the opportunities. You know, it's for those who don't necessarily might not want to move to the continent, but you may be interested in investing on the continent, because you know, it's really about us understanding that we have to create the generational wealth. We cannot be sitting here waiting on this reparations, and those who are sitting around waiting on it, good luck with that. If it comes, it comes. But in the meantime, if we need to be doing some things to make sure that there is something for those who come behind us. And
agreed.
Yep. Go ahead.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, but I know we've been up here for a while, and I'm tired.
Okay. Well, I thank you, sis. It was, for me, it was just impromptu. I hadn't.
Oh no, tonight, yeah, and this was kind of like one of the nights, but when I saw that on Leffer's channel, I'm like, shoot, okay.
I too saw that. I too saw that, and I saw your comment, and I made a comment, but then it disappeared. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I saw that, and I said, okay, this is going to be a good live stream that she's going to do tonight.
But I think I want to do some more expanding on, because there's a few channels that talk about what's going on the continent, but I really think that, you know, we just need to highlight it any way that we can, to just so that people know that that's an option. Yeah. They need to know their options.
I'm sure of the many that's active on YouTube, I do know about Bomani Tyehimba, who he has his own company, a tourist company, but he's also building a community in Ghana, in the parts of Ghana right now with other investors. But he primarily does tours around Africa, to where he principally makes his money.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, I think at the very least, most of us of color should at least want to go to the continent at least once in their lifetime. Visit at least one country. You know. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
just to expand our
absolutely.
horizons. But the investing thing, I mean,
Yeah,
that's a no-brainer. It's just a no-brainer to start to look into the things and start to look into ways to pooling money to making things happen. You know, if you can't beat
yes,
them, join them.
yes. It'll go a long way to develop Africa. Certainly, there's not a shortage of opportunity there, and who better than the sons and daughters in the diaspora to participate in that? So you're right, sis. That's a no-brainer, and
Hmm.
I, for one, I'm definitely ready to do some things. It was something that I'm on a 5-year plan to move permanently myself to Africa, and it looks like for me it would be Guinea, unless
Oh,
it
New
changes
Guinea.
drastic in the next 4 years. Pardon me?
That's it. Oh, New Guinea. Yeah, that's a beautiful country. I mean, all the countries over there are beautiful.
Yeah,
To
for
be
for
honest,
me,
you know.
but certainly, it's one of the things I think. It depends on what we're bringing to the continent. I would discourage anyone just to move there and try to get a job. I think that would be a bad thing to do. I think,
Mm-mm.
but bringing development, investment, and building, I think, yeah, they definitely are welcoming us with open arms. There's no
Yeah,
doubt about that.
exactly.
That
Exactly,
is just a
because
fact. So
if it's about getting a job, you get a job over here. That's why I'm talking about more about people investing over there, so that you have something to retire with, and then at that point,
yeah,
that's a completely, many people are talking about retiring to Africa. I know many people are thinking about,
yes,
but they're not talking about going over there to get a job. They're talking about maybe starting a business or something. But you
right.
definitely,
Creating jobs.
yeah, you
Yes,
definitely don't. That's not the mindset, you know. And
absolutely,
that shouldn't even be the
absolutely.
mindset here. I mean, even though most of us have a job, you still, like I said, multiple streams of income. You should always have some type of income that's not tied to someone else controlling your money. So,
And let me just say this too, before I jump down. I know you're ready to go. So,
mhm.
um, I have seen just in Northern California alone many foreigners who have come here within 10 years who have gotten businesses. And I mean, they have passed our people. I mean, it's like, in the blink of an eye, these people are here and they're living in nice homes. I
Mhm.
mean, we've been here all this time. And
Because
some of
they
these
take
people are
risks.
first
They
generation.
take risks. They take that risk.
Yes, yes. Some of these people are first generation foreigners. I mean, and they're making 6, 7 digits a year, but within 5 to 10 years of getting here. And there's a lot of us that, some people are barely making it. If
Mhm.
so here we are. Fate has thrown out yet another opportunity for our people to do some things, some substantial things. Uh, so it's
Yep.
up to us. So I'm definitely open to a plan. I have a framework, but I'm definitely willing to
Yeah,
share
and that's the reason
with
why
you
I
as well.
think what I want to do is like kind of talk about maybe, you know, we talk about what's going on in Ghana, talk about what's going on in Nigeria, talk about what's going on in New Guinea, just talk about what's going on in different countries
Right.
on the continent, and just kind of so we can open people's eyes about what's going on over there, and then that way people know about what kind of opportunities are available for
Right.
investments, and then they can do their own due diligence, because I think the real thing
Right.
is that we just don't know. People
Yeah.
don't know what's going on, so they have this archaic idea of Africa, which is clearly wrong. You know, I mean,
I've heard people. I've heard a popular content creator. All he does is talk negatively about Africans in Africa. I mean, he paints it, broad strokes. I mean, I've heard him say they eat people. I've heard him say all kinds, just things that's just not even true, just untrue.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
And it's
but,
and it's up to, like I said, I'm about educating people, and right now the hot topic is the continent. And people need to know about the continent. They really need to know what's really going on over there versus what you think is going on over there.
Yeah.
I'm like the view about the Wi-Fi, that I mean, there's somebody who really believes that nonsense.
Right.
Somebody who really believes that nonsense. So, it's like, stop it. They speak multiple languages and you speak, oh, I'm sorry, you only speak one language? Okay. Yeah, okay.
Right. Somebody else's, by the way, but and let me just reiterate what you've said. I believe you said it earlier. First things first, get that passport, though. Those who don't have one,
yeah, get a passport.
First thing, that probably should be the first thing before you do anything else. Really, get that.
I think it's like $150 now, guys. It's not that much.
I think it's 180.
Yeah,
it could be. Okay, I know it was 180.
Well, I'm doing a renewal, so.
Oh, right. Okay, gotcha. So definitely, please do that, because
get a passport.
We all need one.
I know we're all getting that real ID because we have to, but get that passport too. Get the passport. Yeah. Get the passport.
Straight up, man.
It's like
save about $50.
If you can get a passport, get a passport. Before you can't get a passport. I'm just saying.
But if they go, people can, just formulate a savings plan for it. Take about 2-3 months to save it up. I don't know if anyone's destitute here, but I'm just saying those who might be could do that. Just save it up, just piecemeal it together, and then go on down to the immigration office and hook it up. Well, you got to go take the picture first and everything.
They take the picture, and I believe that depending on where you live, there still are some U.S. post offices that will accept your will accept the passport applications.
Absolutely, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There are still.
So
I'm like, there's no excuse. Even if you think you are never going to travel, get the passport.
Yeah.
It will encourage you to travel.
Because let's face it, with the political, the situation that we're in this country, you may need it anyway. To be honest with you, it's a real situation.
That passport. That's all.
The political, the political climate, has gotten so hostile here. I think everyone knows that. And that's a reason alone to have one.
And trust me, guys, the real ID is part of the agenda. That's why I'm telling everybody, get your passport. I know we all have to have that damn real ID. Get that passport too.
Yeah. So.
And I would encourage you to get that passport before the deadline is for the real ID. The deadline for the real ID is October of this year. So have a passport by October of this year. Make that your goal.
Oh, yes.
So you have them both.
Yeah.
At that point.
Right.
But no, Tara, I appreciate any time that you come up here. I appreciate any time you guys, anytime you share, and we will be talking about this more. Ledford for lighting the fire.
Okay. I'll jump down, sis. I want to thank you. I'll go ahead and jump down and let you continue. Okay. Let you close up.
But thank you, Ledford. Thank you, Ledford, for lighting the fire on this topic. I think that this could this is definitely going to expound on some other things. So, not just talking about Ghana. I think we'll talk about some of the other countries over there, just so we can educate our brothers and sisters on the motherland, and know what's really going on over there. Even if you don't choose to visit, we can be doing these virtual visits, and being educated about that part of the world, But I appreciate you guys coming through tonight. I appreciate you guys allowing me to jibber jabber for like 2 hours on this topic, and then just kind of giving you guys some insight on my background in actually doing investment on the continent. And specifically, it was in the country of Ghana. That's, so I did have some, knowledge about that particular country, interestingly enough. So, but I appreciate you guys coming through. We will be back up on here tomorrow. At some point, depends on how I feel after those games. Tomorrow, my purple people disappointed me today, so we'll see how tomorrow goes. But until tomorrow, guys, thank each and every one of you for coming through. You could have been anywhere else. You didn't have to spend the time with me, but I appreciate that you did. I appreciate that you enjoyed the topic. Just talking about investing on the continent and the other little side notes that I threw in there as well in this not so random chat. So until the next time, I offer you guys peace and blessings from the West Side. Shouts out to everybody. Good night, everybody.